So there actually are a number of challenges, of course, that software developers are facing in this post-COVID era that we now find ourselves in. I talk typically about three main challenges, if you will. There can be any number of these. And of course, the prioritization of the challenges is going to be a little bit different depending on what organization or what vertical you find yourself in. But really, one of the first challenges is around accelerating how your organization deals with change. We talked a lot about digital transformation before the COVID world, if you will. Now that we are in it, and even as we hopefully emerge out of it, the speed at which we need to transform the way the business is done is just greatly accelerated. How do you remain competitive? How do you remain relevant? How do you change the way in which organizations execute upon a business strategy? These are all very, very drastic changes that software developers are going to have to rapidly adapt themselves to and be able to figure out how they can still provide value in, again, the world and climate in which we live in. The second challenge is really around data. Now you have a lot of people working remotely. You have data moving potentially to places where it just quite simply didn't move before. So how do you properly manage things like data governance? Where's your data going? Who's using it? How do you put processes around the use of your data? How do you properly secure the data? Right? Data security is a large aspect of what we need to be aware of. Again, just because so many people are now working from home, or we have organizations that are working together but remotely. And then just the broader notion around data management, right? How do you get to manage your data? How do you collect it? How do you continue to treat data as an asset, right? That's a challenge for software developers in this, again, post-COVID era. And then thirdly, I just often talk about the way in which you collaborate with your customers is dramatically different. How do you still be innovative? How do you figure out new ways for your customers to meet the demands that really are part of still today's economy? Again, this doesn't just relate to working remotely, although that can be one aspect of it, as we've talked about, but it also relates to the need to think differently. Right? You still want to leverage capabilities in cloud, AI, ML, and other innovative technologies. You still want to leverage those things, but you want to do so now into the new environment and do so in a way that still brings value to the business. And that is now a new challenge for software developers, especially in today's global climate. Now, when you look at OEM software and how does it remain a strategy for many technology companies? How is it still going to be incorporated? I think it still will be a strategy. The way in which it's incorporated, or maybe some of the prioritization and the use of some of this technology will change, but I think you still will see it being utilized as a stable strategy, a core strategy for many technology companies, regardless of their size. In many cases, organizations, of course, they're still looking to deliver that value to their customers. They're still focusing on how they can differentiate themselves in the marketplace. And one of the ways they can quickly do that is to bring in OEM software, right? They can broaden the capabilities of their software package, focus on their core competencies, and yet still enable and provide differentiated value when it comes to the platform that they're offering their particular customers. Time to market is very critical. We talked about the need to accelerate digital transformation strategies in this post-COVID era. And in order to do that, you can't build everything from scratch. So you got to come up with this balance. What are you going to build? What are you going to buy? What are you going to incorporate, again, from an OEM partnership level? And how are you going to do that in a combined way that you're providing the most value to your customers and doing so at the speed at which you need to deliver capabilities and features? And so really, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the value providing to your customers, the rate at which you're providing that value, how you can provide differentiated value. And you have to look at, of course, these capabilities through this blend of a reduction in time and effort versus what you want to build versus what it actually makes sense to use OEM software to really incorporate into your overall capabilities and platform. So that's what I usually find. We'll see. But it's, again, some of the ways in which the software is utilized may change. Some of the priorities may change, as I mentioned. But I think it still is going to form a core foundation for many technology companies in the months and years to come.